Okay, everybody is dick wagging over the bomb scare that that happened yesterday in really across the country with Maxine Waters and the Clintons and a number of other people getting these supposedly dangerous devices that, from what I've been able to see, were they were a joke. Apparently, they were so crudely put together that it was like somebody was trying to say, "Oh, catch me! I sent a bomb to whatever." So now what's been going on is that Brian Stelter and other people have started to say, "Well, it's the demonization of the media, the demonization of his opponents by, especially Trump, but not only him. That's really the danger. That's why you're getting people under threat of bombing or whatever." This is exactly why I would say that you don't need more civility towards the media. You actually, a lot of these people should have less. And I'm not just talking about people who are Republicans or the right wing or whatever. I think everybody who is in a position where they're hassled by the media the media is a very general place, but a general group of people. But anybody who's being just hassled unduly by reporters looking for clickbait or whatever, they should they should go. Remember the Eric Holder thing? When they go low, we kick them. When the media goes low, you should probably just sack tap them. Give them like a nice kick in the balls or something, figuratively. Okay, figuratively. So the issue is that these people are not actually doing their job with due diligence in order to present an accurate picture to the public. Media figures, whether they're questioning Donald Trump or even Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard on the left, what they're trying to do is to go to them and say, "This is what you said, and therefore we are going to show you how your position deviates from the acceptable norms, and now you have to explain yourself to us because we're the enforcers of that norm." You can't deal with these people in good faith because they're not acting in good faith. That's really the problem. So when I saw a couple weeks ago, there was a reporter who got up to ask Donald Trump a question, but she wasn't ready, and he was like, "Oh, she's so surprised. She probably wasn't. She didn't think she was going to get a question." She said, "Yeah, I wasn't thinking." And he's like, "Yeah, that's right. You never do." That was great, and he should do stuff like that all the time now. I think recently it was Jim Acosta who claimed that the Trump statement that he's a nationalist means that he's a white nationalist or whatever. From now on, Donald Trump should, if Acosta is in a press conference, he should he should just try to, like, if Acosta has any interaction, Trump should go beyond what he's been doing until now. Instead, like at one point he was saying, "I don't take questions from fake news CNN." From now on, he should say, let's hear from the representative of the opposition here now. Let's hear from Mr. Acosta. Let's hear from Amateur Hour. Let's listen to Clown Boy. What Clown Boy's question is? He should literally ridicule the man to his face, make fun of him because essentially Acosta is reinterpreting what Donald Trump is saying. He's not going from what Donald Trump is saying literally. He's reinterpreting as a reporter. He's not an opinion columnist. He's not a media analyst, by the way. Jim Acosta isn't. He's supposed to be a White House correspondent. And a White House correspondent is supposed to represent the point of view of the White House to CNN. And CNN can then, therefore, they still have, even though they're not so, technically their brand is not supposed to work that way back in the past, but they've deviated from it. CNN can then analyze and opinionate about that. But as the White House correspondent, when Jim Acosta is basically, sucking his own cock on TV and saying, "Oh, we feel in danger as the press. I go into these rallies and it's just a lot of suffering and, it's very degrading," or whatever. Well, maybe you should grow a pair of balls, little boy. Jim Acosta picked this career. He makes the money he makes because he goes into these places and he gets to talk to people that most Americans never get a chance to even see. And because he has 3 letters on his press pass, CNN, he thinks that he has like a greater moral heft to his words. It doesn't make any sense. So why are you seeing a picture of Richard Sherman here on the screen? Well, this video is exactly the way I think that people should relate to the media when they're talking to them. And I think that this goes for people on the right. I think it goes for people, anybody who, whether it's the right or like I said, Tulsi Gabbard or whoever. Remember that you're being asked your opinion. They're not supposed to come in and basically cross-examine you like you're some sort of suspect in a crime. When they're asking you questions, it's for clarification. It is to a certain extent to challenge the statements you're saying in order to create consistency, but it's not in order to undermine you on screen. Because if it is, then now the rules of engagement have changed. So let's listen to this.
It's not.
So this was, like it says in 2015, I believe in the wake of the Ray Rice suspension. And the reporter was asking Sherman why he criticized Roger Goodell for basically taking the position of New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, and he called it a conflict of interest. That's the backstory. Not that it matters. What really matters is Sherman's response.
It's not difficult to do your research, but I obviously do. Um, in which way was I incorrect? It's a little different. It's a little different.
So the conflict of interest in the case of Ray Rice was apparently that Rice had been suspended possibly because Robert Kraft of the New England Patriots had talked to Roger Goodell and said it was the right thing to do from a media standpoint. So basically, Sherman was saying that Robert Kraft, as one owner, shouldn't have that amount of influence over Roger Goodell, and possibly also because they had some sort of personal friendship where they would hang out together. That was a conflict of interest. And the reporter was comparing that to Sherman's former teammate, Brandon Browner, who was also a cornerback, who had gone over to the New England Patriots, and how those two continue to talk to each other. It's not the same thing. Roger Goodell isn't Robert Kraft's coworker or former coworker. And the relationship is clearly different. In Goodell's case, he's actually supposed to be an unbiased administrator, so to speak, above the other 32 owners, hypothetically. The 32 owners obviously could fire him, but he's not supposed to be more in favor of Robert Kraft than he is of, let's say, Shahid Khan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, or of Jim Irsay of the Indianapolis Colts. If he would be, then that would be a clear conflict of interest, because he's the commissioner of all 32 NFL teams, and the NFL is not a political entity. It's an association of different NFL franchises, football franchises.
I don't work for Brandon Brown. You don't have anything else?
Oh no, I do, but I'm wondering how much research you do.
But you never answered you never go on with our discussion. You never concluded that. So I don't work for Brandon Brown, so the point is invalid.
Well, it's not invalid. The commissioner of the NFL oversees the entire NFL. There's only 32 owners, and hanging out with an owner doesn't mean that there's impropriety. Just like you hanging out with a competitor in the Super Bowl wouldn't lead to impropriety.
I don't work for the competitors. I don't get to impose discipline on the competitors.
But you stating that there is a level of impropriety in hanging out isn't accurate.
How many other owners have you hung out with? Has he been to their house to take pictures with? Have you done your research? No, you haven't. You just said that. You just came off knee jerk and said that. Come on.
So you can hear that her tone, maybe it's because of the noise, but she's actually getting pissed off and shouting back at him because he calls her out for not doing her research, and she's like objecting. It's like, no, bitch, I'm the athlete and I have done my research. By the way, the Richard Sherman went to Stanford. I'm not sure if athletes at Stanford are held to the same standard as other students, but he's definitely debating like a Stanford man. And this woman is losing her cool because her question's been turned around on her.
Come on, be more specific. Come on, do your research. Be more specific.
Now we get into the mocking territory. That's the best. You have to mock the reporter.
So did all these people defend him in the Ray Rice deal, or was it Robert Kraft? Was it? Come on. Who was the first person to say anything? Who was the first person to call Roger Goodell? Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. You're not doing your research. It's difficult to have a discussion with someone who has no information. You don't have any information. I have all the research, but I'm doing your job for you, and you're making it difficult to have a discussion.
I'm doing your job for you. Perfect line.
Discussion because I'm not leaving. I'm doing my research. Was he the first person that called Roger Goodell to talk about the Ray Rice situation, or wasn't? Oh, he wasn't. Oh, he wasn't. Do you know that? Did you do your research? Did you do your research? Come on. Did you do your research? Did you do your research? Did you do your research? Come on. It's difficult. I wish this would be a better debate, but it's not. It's the levels aren't there for us.
Yeah, that's exactly the way you should relate to these people. Exactly. Richard Sherman is this is why I think he plays for the Niners now. So screw him because I hate that team. But when these people come at you and they start to try to tear down your whatever it is you've built by asking questions from a standpoint of somebody who's done nothing, because most of these reporters, especially if they're young reporters, they've never really been a part of any industry where there is accountability. The media nowadays, they say, well, there's kind of pressure to get information out in order to be the first one, and that's the way the business is, and blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. If you don't do your job and you end up being wrong, you should be skewered just like anyone else would be. That if you're a reporter or the media or whatever. I think that somebody who is challenged the same way that Richard Sherman was in this ridiculous exchange should go as far as possible. And this reporter was probably some nobody from some publication, one of the USA Today offshoots that's out there. It doesn't even say what her name was, but if possible, if it's a high profile media reporter, yeah, you should stick the knife in and twist it when it comes to these questions. Say to, even call them out by name. If it's Jim Acosta or John Carl at the White House or whatever, or what's that guy's name? Chuck Todd. If you're the person being challenged, you should say, well, Chuck, that's typical of a fraud like you who doesn't know how to do his job and basically thinks that the farts coming out of their ass are basically like Chanel perfume. But when you actually examine the facts, nothing that you're talking about is even relevant to the conversation. Jim Acosta, white nationalism, maybe you're obsessed with not white nationalism, Jim. That's the way you should relate to it. So that's about it. Yeah, this bomb scare, I think, is the biggest bullshit that I've ever seen. I don't think that these people were ever under actual threat because they're all basically monitored by the Secret Service or by other layers of security that are in place. Even CNN, which I think received one, They probably have their own security. It's not as if anybody. It's not as if CNN has never been threatened before for stories that they've done. Okay, they have security measures in place, and the fact that one of them took a picture of the bomb on their desk, like not even it's ridiculous. I don't think people should care. I think people should relate to this like they have been. Like, oh, you've been threatened, right? Well, I guess that comes with the territory. That's about it. Have a good day. Bye.